Can I send you push notifications? Turn it on. Can I send you push notifications? Do I have to be here? It's all right. All right. So that was a poor start, but let's try again. Hi, everyone. My name's Nash. I'm a developer evangelist for Twilio. If you don't know about Twilio, come see us. We've been hanging out in the sponsor area all the time, and we'd love to chat. What I'm here to talk to you about today is progressive web apps. We've actually not heard a lot, I think, about progressive web apps this time around at JSConf. I think that means it's an interesting part in the life cycle of a new feature, of a new way that we build applications. And then I think we're just kind of working on them, and we're not quite sure what we're talking about anymore, which is fine. But what I like is the technology behind it and what we can do with it. And the service worker is my favorite thing, because we have JavaScript that runs outside of our page now. And I love that. And what I really love about it is that it's now supported in every major browser. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, browsers. You've done it. And so this means we can really start talking to our businesses and our places of work to build applications that are better for users, can build more interesting stuff, can build more native app-like features. Because that's some of the things that we've been missing that the native applications have had over us. And one of those is push notifications. I think push notifications are wonderful, and that's why I want to talk to you about them today, because I'm not sure you do. So, push notifications is probably important to cover, because it's not quite everyone, because come on Safari, we can get there, we can do it. You know how to do push notifications, you've had a native app, anyway. We'll get there. And I just wanted to show a quick example, because I am so delighted that it did appear in, this is Edge. It works in Edge. Out of the box with the first version of service workers, push notifications came in. And it goes away, and then, woo! And I had to re-download a VM for that, because, you know. Of course, if you go to Can I Use, it does look a little bit more red, a little bit more dangerous. But I don't think that's the important thing. If you're looking at the reds and the greens on this, it's not correct. You want to be looking up in the top right corner there, where it says almost 75% of active users, based on the global stats that Can I Use uses. Almost 75% of people have access to these. So we need to be thinking about them, and building them the correct way. Push notifications are good. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. We're going to cover kind of three things. Very briefly, a bit on how to push. Then we're going to talk about good push notifications. And then we're going to talk about permissions. And permissions get skulls because we're doing it wrong. So quickly on how to push. There's quite a convoluted setup to make push notifications actually work. So you start with a user in a browser, and you have to register your service worker. And once you do that, you can then ask for permission to send push notifications to that user. If they say yes, you'll get back a URL and a couple of encryption keys, which you'll want to save on your server somewhere, so you can use them later. Then later, when you want to make a push notification from your server, you send a post request to that URL that you got, which is the browser's push notification service. You can encrypt some data with that using those keys you got earlier, so that the browsers can't read what you're sending to your users. That's cool. And then the service will send a push to your device, which will wake up the service worker, which will react if you are listening to the push event, and eventually send that back to the browser and make the notification happen. I'm not going to go into the technical side of that, the code or anything, because you're all smart people and you can read documentation. So if you want to find out about that, MDN and the Google Developer docs are both very good at telling you exactly how all this works. Because I don't think how to do this is the problem. We can write code, and we can write code that works. We need to talk about actually doing this well, actually doing good push notifications. You see, this is a tweet that comes across every once in a while on Twitter. Like, dear every website, I never want push notifications. And that's not true. I don't think that's true. I don't believe it. I know I want push notifications for something. There are useful things for this for. Push notifications are incredibly useful for the right things. I do believe that the person that says that maybe doesn't want push notifications. It's entirely possible that you are a person who, when you get your phone, the first thing you do is go to settings and turn off notifications and never get that. And that's fine. But it's not true for everyone. I have some examples of some good notifications because I think we need to hear them, and maybe we're not thinking about that quite so well. Appointment reminders is a really good one. As I said, I work at Twilio, and we've been sending, we have an API for sending text messages, which we've had around for about 8 years now. And text messages get used for notification purposes as well. And one of our clients, the Arkansas Children's Hospital, used appointment reminders, and they cut down no-shows. Bearing in mind this is a children's hospital, appointments for sick children, no-shows were 20%. And after they implemented notifications to say, hey, you've got an appointment tomorrow, it dropped to 2%. Like, that's real life, really important stuff. Keeping doctors doing the job that they should be doing and getting kids to appointments that they need to be going to. Chat alerts is an obvious one. I'm sure we don't like to ignore them some of the time because they're not normally they're not always good news. But then I know that having been in Berlin for the last week and kind of trying to hang out and meet up with different people, that push notifications to various methods of chatting and messaging people have kept me on the ball for that. ETA alerts, things arriving. If you order a car, food, any kind of delivery at all, getting a notification that it's there is excellent. It means you actually leave your house and go and get in the car, or you go pick up that food. And then event updates, especially things like conferences. If we wanted to be sending stuff to you, you don't want to download an entire native application for a 1 or 2 day event. The browser can help us in this one. And similarly, other events like flights, also on my mind, having flown over here in 3 different planes to get here. Being told and updated when I could check in and also when there were delays made that so much easier. These notifications all have kind of 3 tenets to them that you should consider when building with push notifications, in that they are timely, actionable, and personal. Timely is sort of obvious. Like, if I get a push notification to say that my car has just arrived after I finish the journey, that's not very useful. But there's other considerations to that as well. This is a picture that goes around Twitter once in a while as well. It's the Slack decision tree of whether to send somebody a push notification. And a whole bunch of, you don't need to read it, but a whole bunch of those things are time-based stuff. Is the person asleep? Is the person working? Do they really need this? Weirdly enough, when I'm using Slack, I can be on the desktop typing a message to somebody and my phone will buzz with a notification. So I modified this to, that's how it works for me. I don't know what's gone on there. But there's there's considerations like the time of day, the time zone, and then the number of notifications you're sending somebody as well. You don't want to just keep piling them on, because that's not helpful after a while. And then we go to actionable stuff. And this is, like, actionable notifications is where you get something that you can do something about. If you receive a chat message from someone, then you want to read it, respond to it, deal with that. If your car is here, it is time to leave the house, or it's time to get on the street and look for it. If your flight is open for check-in, you might get the extra legroom seats if you go check-in now. Important to me. And then they're personal. There's one thing you might have noticed about all of those is that they're all about you. I'm pretty sure if you searched Twitter 2 weeks ago for push notifications, there were a bunch of people very surprised that they had 20 or so notifications that some guy was getting married. As the royal wedding goes off and news organizations are like, we must push this to everyone. It's not personal, that's not actionable, it's not interesting at all. That's not true. Some people probably wanted that. But I didn't, so it's fine. So you can break the rules on this though. As I said, like, some people might have wanted royal wedding notifications. A really good example of this was back in 2016, when the Guardian team in the UK covered the UK general election. And did this little experiment with push notifications that kept people up to date with how the votes were coming in overnight. This is an amazing bit of work as well, because they actually assembled this image in the service worker. And if you work with the service worker, you know that there's no canvas element, there's no way to really manipulate images properly. So they were doing it entirely with buffers, which is kind of amazing. But this actually shows one other thing. In the middle, between latest declared and settings, there's a button to stop. That's one they programmed in. Because maybe you do want to go to bed, because this goes all night, and you don't want to keep hitting notifications. And so you have to let people opt out from within your application. This is the Twitter iOS application, where you can choose which push notifications you get. Now, they have a bad reputation of adding things to this and checking them. So you have to keep revisiting once in a while. But if I want DMs and I want app mentions, but I don't want Twitter news, because then you can go sort it out inside the application. Because the alternative for us on the web is terrible. The alternative looks a little like this. I'm just going to go out to Chrome for a second here. Make sure notifications are working. Yep. So we're just registering for push notifications there. And then when I send one, it'll come into the screen. It'll come into the screen. It's not going to do it. OK, cool. So in the notification, you get to see, as you hover over it, there are two buttons. One, importantly, is settings. And when you click that settings button, you get taken to this screen. This screen allows you to block that individual website, and even worse, allows you to block all of them. If one website sends a bad push notification that a user cannot opt out of, it's a very quick step to that user blocking every single application's push notifications. This is what it looks like in Firefox as well. It's not good. I am terrified that the rest of the internet can affect my application in that way. If I'm sending useful things to a user that they want to receive, but they get put off by an abuse of this API, then that's horrifying. So this leads me on to the other terrifying part of this, which is the permissions. I found one of those tweets that kind of said, "Dear every website, I don't want you to post notifications to my desktop. I don't want to subscribe to your thing via pop-up. I don't want you to know my location. Please stop autoplaying that video. I'm angry and sad now." Websites are making users angry and sad because they are doing this. The power of the web has been increasing over the recent years as we get the ability to use methods and device capabilities like geolocation, like the push notifications, like media devices, camera and microphone, Bluetooth, MIDI, web USB, all of those things. But we require permission for them because they're more invasive. And that's correct. And the web has always had this like permission, the permissions model that you ask for it when you need it, which is good. Except we keep asking, we keep doing lots of things. But it doesn't make you ask it when you need it. I want to pick on a couple of sites. Apologies to them, but they shouldn't have done this. This is what happens when you load producthunt.com for the first time. It looks like an interesting site. What? When you get there for the first time, why are we being asked for permission for push notifications? What is that about? And they're not the only ones. This is CNET, a tech and review site. Push notifications, first time. This is sitepoint.com. Not only push notification permissions, but an entire page overlay asking you to pay for stuff. You don't even know what the site does yet. It's supposed to look like that. And this is a site that does tutorials on web development. And then YouTube did it to me the other day. This is not the first time I visited YouTube, but this is the home page. And it gave me no context about what it wanted to do with these push notifications. It just asked for permission. Context is absolutely king in this case, absolutely king, because why would you give permission to any site to have one of those invasive permissions? And this counts for geolocation, and this counts for media devices as well. Why would you give permission to one of those sites without context? And then in recent changes from Chrome, they stopped allowing you to just dismiss the notification, the permission. You either block or allow. And so that's straight into block straight away, obviously. We need to stop this. We need to stop this, or our users will stop it for us. There are sites like How To Geek who are now publishing posts on how to turn these off in every browser, how to avoid these push notifications at all. And again, this is one or two sites that can ruin it for the rest of us, and ruin it for the users as well. And Firefox. If you're here, which I hope you are, let's have a chat about this, because I don't think this is cool. I don't think building a feature and then telling people that the feature you built into your browser is terrible is a good idea, especially when I think we can agree that some of those push notification examples I gave earlier are good ideas and can help people. So maybe now you can think of some good reasons to get push notifications, Firefox. Let's sort this out. So please, if you have built push notifications into your website at all, do not demand notification permissions on page load. Don't. So my worry, as I've said already, is that permissions will become the new pop-ups. They will be reviled and dismissed by users. They'll just be annoyances in the browser. And it doesn't matter what the feature behind them is, whether it is push notifications, geolocation, whatever. They'll just dismiss it. They don't care. And when users dismiss those permissions by default, our web platform loses its power to build engaging and useful experiences for those users. That little checkbox is terrifying. So please, don't demand notification permissions on page load. I have some suggestions, though, because I don't think I can reach everybody by standing on stage here. I'm very glad to be able to reach you and tell you this. But we have to do better than that. I have some suggestions for now, and then for the future, for how we can improve this in general. For now, it's just better patterns of UX for this. Just wait. Build up the context that will make the user aware of why you need that permission. And Matt Gaunt from the Chrome DevRel team wrote a great post and a great example application based on this. He built a fake airline ticketing site. And once you finish the purchase process of an airline ticket, at the bottom of the screen, it pops up, get notifications for flight delays. And you've just bought an airline ticket, and you've no wish to turn up to the airport 10 hours early because your flight's delayed. This seems like a good idea. I'll click it. Oh, there's the permissions pop up. I know exactly what I'm going to get out of this. It can be obvious. Still don't put the permissions up, but if you are building a chat application like Slack, that kind of top bar across the top is reasonable. There is, same for geolocation permissions. If there's a map on the back of on the screen behind the notification, it's probably obvious what we're trying to do here. So that's fine. But for the future, this I think is more important, because I think together we can work to fix this in general. This needs to be the start of a conversation, or the continuing of a conversation that has existed. My suggestion was the browser should enforce a user interaction before asking for a permission. Something like pop-ups, where you have to have had a click before you can pop something up. There's arguments about this, but you can get involved in them. On GitHub, on the WICG repos, there is an interventions repo, which is great. But issue 49 is the suggestion from somebody else that there should be a user interaction before a permissions pop up. That conversation is stalled right now. And the reason behind it is because there are a couple of companies that have built up a service that does push notifications on behalf of other websites, for those websites that haven't managed to change on to HTTPS yet, which you need for the service worker. I think those businesses are tenuous at best. It's a transitional thing, and the web is going to HTTPS all the way through. So whilst I'm sympathetic with the fact that they're trying to build a business, I'm not sure it's a great foundation to be doing so on. But maybe a user interaction is not the best suggestion. We need to get involved and come up with better ones. There's also the permissions API. It's an emerging spec from the W3C. And currently the permissions API just kind of collects in one place where you can find out if you have asked for permission and what the response was. But I feel like that could be better as well. Perhaps we could have an API that let us ask whether we can ask permission yet. Perhaps the browser should be implementing some kind of heuristic, a little like the add to home screen pop-up, where for a progressive web app, you can only add to home screen after a certain amount of engagement. But we need this to be deterministic as well. So being able to ask the permissions API whether I have enough engagement yet might be a good idea. But again, I need more ideas, I need more input for this, and we need to start talking about it more. So in conclusion, I think push notifications are awesome for the right things. Not for breaking news, but for important, timely, actionable, and personal actions. One more time for this one. Do not ever demand permissions for anything on a page load. Make those notifications timely, actionable, and personal. Or don't. Break the rules, but allow those users to opt out inside your application so they don't turn it off for everyone. Because if a user blocks push notifications like that, the whole web suffers. They suffer because they can't get the good push notifications that we're talking about. And they will block it if they have a bad experience. But we, as good web developers who are coming to a conference like this, who are hanging out in a great community like this, we can provide good experiences for both these permissions and for notifications in general. We might have to work together to find out how we can do this better, and that's what I want to see. And I want us to see us building progressive web apps that improve experiences for users, that improve the web in general, and not aggressive web apps, which just get up in everybody's face and make users sad and angry. We can go and do that. That is what I've got for you. Thank you so much.